Hey guys, Benny here. So huge announcement for Palantir today. It's very possible that sometime in the near future, we could see Palantir get involved in Bitcoin. We could either see them start to buy Bitcoin or possibly help the US government regulate Bitcoin. And that is what I'm more leaning towards. I think it's very possible Palantir is going to play a key role in regulating Bitcoin. The US government definitely has their eyes on this. So before we do get into this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to stay up to date on any kind of Palantir news. I do cover all of it on this channel. So just recently, Chairman Peter Thiel hints that Palantir could rein in on Bitcoin. And he actually just recently claimed to be a Bitcoin maximalist. So while there's no publicly disclosed link between the program and Palantir, the IRS is scanning Bitcoin transactions under Operation Hidden Treasure. The IRS uses Palantir to find tax evasion. Now, Palantir's data governance technology could provide a privacy, balance, compliance solution to Bitcoin in a more stringent regulatory environment. This would cement Bitcoin as an open source alternative to the digital yuan. Now, it wouldn't be totally uncommon to see Palantir just hold Bitcoin as a reserve asset instead of just the US currency. You can see on this list, there's a ton of companies that have been adding to Bitcoin in their reserves over this past year. Now, I do think this is very possible, and we're going to get more into this, but I'm definitely leaning towards Palantir helping out regulate it. I think that's actually a way bigger idea than them just holding Bitcoin. So carrying on here, just on April 8th, Peter Thiel made these statements. I think these are really big statements to make around Bitcoin. So the geopolitical thing I sort of wonder about is always that, the US dollar is a reserve currency of the world. There are some things about that are good for the US, some things that are more problematic. From China's point of view, they want to get it. They don't like the US having the reserve currency because it gives us, a lot of leverage over Iranian oil supply chains and all sort of things like that. Now, this is where it really ties into Palantir getting involved into Bitcoin. So even though I'm sort of a pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin maximalist person, I do wonder whether at this point Bitcoin should also be thought in part as a Chinese financial weapon against the US, where it threatens fiat money. But it especially threatens the US dollar, and China wants to do things to weaken it. So it's sort of a China long Bitcoin, and perhaps from a geopolitical perspective, the US should be asking some tougher questions about exactly how that works. These are some big statements to talk about coming from somebody who has worked with the government the last couple decades. If he's thinking this, I'm sure the government is thinking this, and Palantir is probably the best go-to company to help out with this potential problem. A data analysis platform that protects general anonymity while simultaneously being capable of identifying illegal activity is precisely the compliance solution that Bitcoin needs in order to thrive. It would enable Bitcoin to retain its open source independence, as the IRS cannot modify the blockchain to debit someone's Bitcoin wallet. It must pursue remedies using the US legal system. So we have heard time and time again from the US government that they are concerned about Bitcoin being used for illegal activity. We've heard this from Janet Yellen and many other government officials. Now, it's very possible they could use Palantir's data platform to identify illegal activity and also come up with a solution to properly regulate Bitcoin and tax it. These are some of the biggest problems with Bitcoin being fully adopted into the US system. We have people such as Ray Dalio that has stated the government outlawing Bitcoin is a good probability. Back in the 1930s, the government outlawed gold. They made gold illegal to own for 40 years. The same thing could very well theoretically happen to Bitcoin, and some very famous investors has addressed this concern, and this has been one of the biggest concerns with probably most Bitcoin investors, is that they don't know what the government is going to do, because there's already many other governments around the world that have banned Bitcoin. However, I think this would be very narrow-minded of the US, coming from a nation that is very innovative and open to new technologies. This would be very close-minded to not adapt to this blockchain technology that Bitcoin sits on. So in my opinion, Palantir has 18 years of working closely with the government. They have relationships with the IRS. I think it's a full-on possibility that they will use Palantir's platform to help regulate Bitcoin. Not only that though, we have Peter Thiel, who is a Bitcoin maximalist. He said this himself. So I think in the near future, we will see some kind of announcements how Palantir is involved with Bitcoin, whether that's going to be them adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet or helping the government regulate it. Now, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts around this topic. I think this would be a massive announcement and Palantir would explode on something like this. So yeah, let me know down below in the comments if you think this is a possibility. And thanks for watching till the end. Really appreciate that. I'll see you guys on the next video.